Today, I want to introduce you to someone I met in Custom House, London. His name is Terry, and he has lived there for his whole life, but sadly, he expressed that he will move out soon. Terry recalled to me with nostalgia that despite its uneventful appearance now, Custom House used to be much more vibrant with many more shops and stores, but most importantly, there was also the New Gok pub, which is where his parents and he would meet their friends every other day. The pub has been closed for many years since 2002 and left vacant ever since, leaving Terry's family without their familiar place to meet their neighbors. Even beyond Custom House, many important spaces of gathering for other communities are being given up in exchange for meeting ever-changing governmental priorities or economic conditions. Even the new Assets of Community Value regulation introduced in 2012, attempting to protect community spaces, still ultimately view them as property, a commodity that community groups have to match in price to prevent redevelopment. With change happening so fast at every level to our societies, bringing many conveniences, our environments, however, are increasingly streamlined for speed and efficiency over social interaction, and isolation has become the price that we pay. The high street used to be an informal place of convening, and in lieu of the loneliness epidemic and recent COVID-19 pandemic, exposing more than ever the importance of locality, there is an urgent need to reinvent our high streets to once again serve local communities physically, affordably, and socially. In bridging the present-day dilapidated state of Custom House's High Street with a more resilient future, the proposed Freemasons Road Conveners Trust provides a new beginning. Freemasons Road is the High Street of Custom House, but what does it mean to be a convener? Conveners are people or organizations that bring others together and find the means to do so. They come in the form of community leaders like former resident Tom, whom I've had the opportunity to talk to personally. He organized the big lunch of 2018 in an unused community garden, with resources pulled from neighbors and other local organizations like the churches or other conveners such as the community cafe, other public institutions, or NGOs. And while visiting these conveners, I learned that each organization has its own events and regular participants covering a variety of activity types. Together, they provide Custom House with a calendar of events for socialization within their own spaces, making their individual venues formal community spaces. However, everyday social interaction can often be unplanned. I observed such unexpected gatherings occur, like when residents spontaneously gather around games or open and well-lit shops. It becomes apparent that centers of daily life, such as where we shop, eat, or pass by, are filled with opportunities for interaction, and as such, high streets filled with affordable amenities catering to a wide socio-economic group have always acted as conveners of informal community spaces. Hence, the mission of the FRCT is to support these formal and informal community spaces equally through facilitating the high street as a space for community convening and to secure affordable properties for these community services. The proximity between shopkeepers and organizations, both key conveners, provide opportunities to work together, which will be elaborated on later. The FRCT is a community land trust, and CLTs are a means to deliver affordable properties in an age where speculation has driven up land values so much that former residents and businesses get priced out. Studies have shown that land value went from making up less than half of property value to making up 70% in just 20 years, which translates to a 544% increase in value. Local businesses that traditionally kept their price points low for their communities can no longer cover their rents. CLTs were studied in the technical thesis, which you can refer to in the link provided. Existing CLTs almost always cater to affordable home ownership. However, what Custom House needs is not more housing, but a replenishment of amenities lost over the years since the early 2000s. The first principle of the FRCT is to provide properties only for local amenities. This creates unique challenges for the CLT, as shopkeepers often cannot or do not want to own their properties. In order to remain viable for shopkeepers, the FRCT's properties must be leased and not sold to the shopkeepers at affordable rates. With such necessarily low rents, it would take the FRCT 17 years to cover its expenses according to the financial spreadsheet developed in the technical thesis. Empty plots in Custom House are not available for that long, as they are already slated for regeneration, which makes building from scratch like existing CLTs unfeasible for the FRCT. It is here that the Freemasons Road Shopkeepers Charter becomes a relevant opportunity. The Council recognizes the value of existing local businesses and reiterates their right to remain and return. However, more concrete commitments need to be made. In lieu of the Council-led future redevelopment of Freemasons Road, the FRCT proposes an additional clause where the Council promises that the FRCT can purchase from them the necessary number of new ground floor units at a lower than market rate. Thereafter, as owners of the properties, the Trust can ensure long-term low rents for the Freemasons shopkeepers. Hence, the FRCT is a new CLT model that leverages local planning and policies to serve an existing community instead of creating a new one. Having the shopkeepers on the ground floor not only benefits business, but also socializes the high street, as local businesses and amenities have always done. The Board of Trustees, which consists of shopkeepers and other conveners, vote democratically on whether new businesses or startups are able to join the trust to protect the diverse interests of the community. On the other hand, the FRCT would need alternative revenues. Whereas existing CLTs cover their costs of construction with payments from residents committed to buying their properties, the FRCT has to purchase the redeveloped properties with funding from elsewhere. As such, the currently empty plots owned by the Council, as you see here, provide a revenue-generating opportunity for the FRCT where they can develop a mixed-use temporary development. However, by nature of the short length of time, such developments have high rents that only accommodate lucrative startups or brands. Furthermore, such projects in London have invited criticism for further driving land prices up, even if unintentionally. Temporary projects that focus on reclaiming land value often lead to precariousness for the local community who might be burdened by the increase in property values. Hence, the FRCT's financial model seeks to reap the benefits of temporary developments for the local community, but without displacing them. By working with the local community and existing makerspace, temporary WikiHouse-style structures are fabricated for the project to convey the image of Custom House's identity. The increased footfall that comes with such temporary projects, even if it's out of hype, reduces crime and socializes the public spaces, while the profits earned are used to purchase the ground floor units from the Council after regeneration. With that, the FRCT changes the paradigm of meanwhile projects from one of precariousness for the local community to one of long-term security for affordable localities. Furthermore, these temporary structures can be reappropriated, reused, and relocated as part of an agile developmental model that can benefit other local neighborhoods in London, seeking to reconcile regeneration with the socio-economic sustainability of their communities. In future, the bakeries, grocers, and shops adjust to their timeless routines in the new affordable spaces along Freemasons Road provided by the FRCT. With several spaces dedicated as common rooms, the various events that are already familiar to the community are organized along Freemasons Road by different conveners and shopkeepers working together. In the common room with broadcasting equipment, hobbyists can record their podcast while the rest of the space is an extension of the public street. It is also where local artists like Voice of Reason perform during gig nights with refreshments by the community cafe, while in the day, it becomes a place of storytelling mythologies with books from the adjacent bookshop in conjunction with the local library. By convening in proximity, existing informal networks of collaboration are reinforced in this community space that residents identify with, allowing more future opportunities for businesses or relationships. The disruption from the coronavirus has unfortunately cut short my engagement with the community earlier this year, with whom I was hoping to formulate this proposition. As we come out of the pandemic eventually, we will have to reevaluate how we build our neighborhoods, which currently leaves communities without the means to sustain their livelihoods. Recent events have revealed the innate need humans have for social interaction, and architecture has always concerned itself with how people connect. Naturally, that was a concern I shared through my past few years at the AA. However, some groups are losing their places of gathering, not for a lack of design in their physical spaces, but due to gaps in policies. I learned through this project that just like many issues that are not solely about space, social and economic infrastructure is very much the business of architects in an industry where effecting change is inseparable from financial and legal expertise. The Freemasons wrote Conveners Trust is certainly not a panacea for the community's struggles, but I argue that proposing a means to reposition the high street as a place of gathering, responding to spatial and socio-economic circumstances might just be a good start.